Empress Matilda, the Queen without a crown.
In England's medieval history, there was a female figure of great importance whose legacy left an indelible mark on the country. Hailing from a noble and powerful lineage, this leader played a prominent role in the struggle for the throne and the stability of the kingdom. Her courage and determination challenged the social norms of the time and made her an influential figure in a male-dominated world. Although her claim to the throne was the subject of dispute and conflict, her legacy as a champion of justice and female empowerment has endured through the centuries, serving as a beacon for female leaders and an inspiration to those who defy established expectations. The Little Queen. Queen Matilda was born in Oxfordshire, England on February 7th, 1102. She was the daughter of Queen Matilda of Scotland and Henry I, King of England and Duke of Normandy. When Matilda was only 7 years old, her father received a letter from Henry V, King of the Holy Roman Germanic Empire, in which he expressed his desire to form a marriage alliance with the Anglo-Saxon royal family by obtaining the hand of the couple's daughter. In exchange for such an alliance, England would gain a valuable military ally against France, and Henry V would receive a dowry of 10,000 marks, necessary to finance his appointment as emperor. After celebrating her betrothal on April 10th, 1110, and being crowned 3 months later as Queen of Rome, Matilda was placed in the custody of Bruno, Archbishop of Trier, after the betrothal, who took charge of educating her in German manners, culture, language and polity. And finally, in January 1114, she was married to Henry V. Revolts in the Empire. The beginning of her husband's rule was a nightmare. The church and several nobles rebelled against him, leading to the arrest of his chancellor, Adalbert, several German princes, and Pope Paschal II's attempt to excommunicate him. After initiating both a military and political campaign to stay in power, Henry V advanced towards Rome in 1117 to resolve his conflicts with the Pope, who eventually fled the city. This situation led Henry V to appoint as Pope the Nuncio Maurice Boudin, who assumed the name of Gregory VIII and designated the royal couple as the Emperor and Empress of the Holy Roman Germanic Empire. During her reign as Queen Empress, Matilda attended to requests from petitioners, took charge of the patronage of royal grants of titles and properties, and participated in ceremonial acts. The tragedy of the White Ship. While Henry V was hunting down Pope Paschal throughout the empire, two tragedies occurred in England. Matilda of Scotland, Matilda's mother, died of natural causes in 1118, and William Adelin, the younger brother and rightful heir to the English throne, drowned on November 24th, 1119, after the White Ship in which he was preparing to travel sank as it left the port of Barfleur for unknown reasons. To this day, it is not known what the cause of the accident was. Some versions of the time suggest that the accident could have been caused by the collision of a submerged rock with the side of the ship. Another indicates that the accident may have been due to overloading, and even that it could have been a covert political assassination, as Ken Follett points out in his book The Pillars of the Earth. The truth is that there were only two survivors: Captain Thomas Fitz-Estienne, who ended his life when he learned that he had caused the death of the heir, and a butcher from Rouen, who was a member of the crew. This death provoked a conflict of succession, since King Henry I had no more legitimate male heirs who could be accepted as his heir by the nobility and the clergy. This led him to take Adela of Louvain as his second wife, in the hope of begetting a new legitimate heir. However, as his new wife did not become pregnant, the court began to pressure the king to choose a new successor. There were only two options. Either he chose the legitimised Robert of Gloucester, one of his 22 bastard sons, or he chose to name his nephew Stephen of Blois, and both were poor choices for king. The death of the Emperor. The conflict between Henry V and the Church continued until the year 1122, in which Pope Paschal managed to reach a peace agreement at the Council of Worms with the Emperor, in which he recognised his title as Emperor in exchange for renouncing his rights to invest bishops with his episcopal insignia and undoing the appointment of Pope Gregory VIII. While peace was achieved, Matilda served as regent until the death of her husband on May 23rd, 1125, who died of cancer. Having no children, the Germanic throne passed to Frederick, Henry V's nephew. After receiving several marriage proposals from some German princes who wished to increase her status, Matilda decided to return home with her jewels, 2 of Henry's crowns and a relic of the hand of St. James the Apostle. Marriage to Godfrey V. To avoid a succession conflict at court, King Henry I decided to name his daughter Matilda as his heir at Westminster Abbey on Christmas 1126. The following year, the nobles swore to recognise her and any future legitimate heir she might have as sovereign. However, there was still a need to secure an alliance that would help her maintain her position. It was for this reason that she decided to arrange a second marriage for her daughter with Godfrey V, the eldest son of Fulk, Count of Anjou, who in exchange for the marriage alliance would help him with troops to defend the lands of Normandy, which were under attack by the Count of Flanders, William Cletus, with the support of France. Apparently, Matilda found the proposal of marrying a 13-year-old boy of lesser status humiliating after having been the Empress of the Germanic Empire. Hildebert, Archbishop of Tours, finally intervened to convince her to accept the marriage. On June 17, 1128, Henry I knighted Godfrey V, and Matilda and he were married a week later at Le Mans. Fulk finally left the county of Anjou to march to the Kingdom of Jerusalem in 1129 and proclaimed his son Count of Anjou and Maine. Shortly after the marriage, Matilda abandoned her husband and returned to Normandy, which led Henry I to write a letter to his daughter and force her to reconcile with her husband at a great council convened by him that same year, in which the Norman nobles reaffirmed his ascension to the throne. The era of Anarchy. Although Matilda was unhappy in her marriage, she gave birth to Henry II, the couple's first child, in March 1133 at Le Mans. A year later, she gave birth to a second, Godfrey of England, in a difficult birth in which she almost died. From then on, relations between the king, his children and the heiress became increasingly strained. Matilda tried to convince her father to hand over the royal castles in Normandy, but he did not do it because he feared that his son-in-law would give him a coup d'etat. A situation that was never resolved, as the king died unexpectedly on December 1st, 1135, at the age of 77. This situation led Robert of Gloucester to start a rebellion in support of his cousin, Stephen of Blois, as successor to the throne, ignoring the legitimate rights of his half-sister. This would begin the era of anarchy, a brutal war that would last 19 years. In conclusion, Matilda of England left an indelible mark on medieval history as a powerful and courageous female figure. Her struggle for the throne and her determination to defy the social norms of her time made her an icon of strength and leadership. Although her claim to the throne was unsuccessful, her legacy endures as a symbol of resilience and empowerment for women throughout the centuries. Her influence continues to be an inspiration to those who seek to fight for equality and justice in the world. Before you go, please subscribe and leave us a like if you like the content. It will help us grow and continue to make much more content. Now, without further ado, we say goodbye.